Bullseye, you got a letter. Since you're not coming, I guess I'll read the letter to you, brother. Alright, Bullseye, the letter says, Dear Bullseye, I just turned 19. And this is the very first time I'm going to get to vote. Who should I vote for? A concerned voter, signed, Christina. Did you get that, Bullseye?
Thank you so much for reading that mail to me, Walter. I appreciate it, even though you didn't really want to do it, but you did it anyway, so you're such a nice little furry friend. Okay, so I want to take a moment to respond to you, Christina. First of all, thank you so much for writing into Bullseye the Clown and asking me about voting. I think voting is a very, very important thing, and the moment anyone turns 18, I would always suggest that no matter what country you live in, if your country has voting, you should vote. That's the one time in the whole year that you might get your say. So when it comes to who should you vote for in this election 2020, well, I don't always think that it's my business to tell you who to vote for. So what I did is I enlisted some very smart people at Forbes magazine, and Forbes magazine came up with some great ideas or qualities that make a great leader. Now, these qualities of a great leader aren't just necessarily for president. They could be for senators or commissioners or the county dog catcher. It doesn't really matter, but these are just qualities that you should look for anytime you're trying to elect somebody into any particular office. Okay, so the first one, without further ado, Forbes magazine says the first one is integrity. That a great leader has great integrity, and that kind of means always doing the right thing even when no one is watching. That is also means that you give credit where credit is due. So say I come up with a great idea and I say, this is a great idea, you should do this, and then the leader does that. The leader doesn't then turn around and say, oh, this was my idea, wasn't this great? No, he should say, oh, Bullseye the Clown came up with a wonderful idea, and this is what it is. So he gives credit where credit is due. Let's see. Oh, and they should always put safety and quality first. So if they just want to reach the end goal, no matter how much they want to get to that end goal, it should always be safe, and you should always have high quality when you're doing that. A great leader also admits when they make a mistake, and they don't blame others for their mistake. They just accept it and they move on from that particular point. So they acknowledge and they accept their own mistakes without blaming other people for them. The next thing is a leader should have great communication skills. Well, I'm a clown. Maybe I should become a leader because I have great communication skills, don't I? You better say yes. Okay, so a great communicator, what does that mean exactly? Well, that means that a leader must motivate, instruct, and discipline people that they are in charge of. Poor communication leads to poor results, and it leads to poor outcomes. And I know I'm talking about communicating here, but part of communicating is also listening. So what that means is that you need to listen probably twice as much as you talk, because God gave you one mouth and He gave you 2 ears. So, so I know you're going to say, well, He gave us 2 lips, well, that's not what that's... Hush up. So, you should also be a great listener in order to be a great communicator. That's what I'm trying to say. The next thing, if you're looking to elect a great leader has charisma. Oh, that's what I have. You see how excited I get and how fun I am and how everybody just loves me. Okay, well, maybe that's pushing it a little bit. Okay, never mind. Let me calm down here. But they should have charisma. People are willing to follow a leader that is well-spoken. Well, that's me, right? Well-spoken, approachable, friendly, and shows a true compassion and a true caring for other people. So, if they don't show that they care about you, chances are they don't. So always watch what they say, and also watch what they do and how they act. So a great leader should have charisma. Oh, here's one. The next one is accountability. Yes, a great leader should be held accountable and should take the accountability himself. So as a leader, if your team fails, you fail because you didn't adequately communicate to your team how the outcome needed to be. A great leader not only takes accountability if the project fails, but again, they also take accountability if it's a great success. So if you have a great success, then the leader, of course, will take all of the credit. No, he puts credit where credit is due, but also he will take accountability if the project or the country or the law or whatever it happens to be does not quite pan out the way that it should have. And the last one that Forbes magazine says is positivity. Yes, positivity. A leader should be able to inspire people through positive vibes and positive language. Because let's face it, if you're not excited about a project, chances are you're not going to do the project very well. So if your team leader comes to you and says, well, we need to do this project, and it needs to get done, and if it doesn't get done, you're going to get fired and we're going to get rid of you. Well, that's not really going to give you a positive outlook on this particular project, and more than likely the project is going to suffer because you're not really that excited to do it. So, a great leader should also be positive and not talk to you in a negative manner. Now, here's one that's going to get a little, how shall I say, wonky. And what wonky means is it may get ruffle some feathers on some. See that little chicken back there? Where does he at back there? Yes, he might get his feathers ruffled on this one. So what I also decided to do, because some of you are Christians that watch my show, and some of you might consult the Bible for certain things. So I decided I was going to look it up in the Bible, because the Bible does say some stuff about being a great leader. Now, granted, a lot of this is being a church leader, but I think this is pretty applicable. So whether you read the Bible or whether you don't, I think these are still applicable when it comes to picking a great leader. Now, this is what the Bible says in 1 Timothy chapter 3 verses 1 through 7, and I am going to read this, so I'm going to pull it up on my cell phone so it doesn't look like I'm looking way down. And yes, clowns do have cell phones just like everybody else. Okay, but this is what the Bible says about picking a great leader. The saying is trustworthy. If anyone aspires to office or overseer, he desires a noble task. Therefore, an overseer must be above reproach, the husband of just one wife, sober-minded, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, able to teach, not a drunkard, not violent but gentle, not quarrelsome, they don't get into a lot of fights, not a lover of money. He must manage his own household well, with all dignity, keeping his children submissive. For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how can he care for God's church? And so in this one, the God's church can also be the office in which you are applying for. So, but that is what the Bible says about leadership. And now, before I go, because this is going to be very short, so because I know you got to get out there and you got to go vote, so I want to make sure that you vote for the right person. And so I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Not that anybody asked. Well, Christina asked about my 2 cents. So here's my 2 cents, Christina. I also say that you should also not vote for somebody who exhibits bullying behavior. So, if since this is a show about bullying, I'm going to just spit it right out right here. So, you should not vote for somebody who calls names, who pokes fun or mocks other people, who says bad or negative things about other people, who incites violence in others or incites other people to get fired up and want to fight other people. Because, and I'm not just saying that just to say it, because what happens is people will emulate what they see on television. So just like they see the President of the United States or the Prime Minister of another country, the people in that particular country, they kind of start to take on the characteristics of the people that they elect. And so if you elect somebody who is a bully and who calls names and who drags your name through the mud and who is mean, then all of a sudden what slowly starts to happen is all through that country or all through that community, you start to get people who call names and who mock and who really start to create a lot of havoc. So although voting is a great right that we all have, hopefully we all have it, but although it's a great right, it is a very impactful one, and you should not take it lightly. So when you go to the polls, make sure you really focus on knowing what each candidate that you're voting for stands for. And if you don't know who they are, find out who they are before you say yes or no. Because you might say no to somebody who is great, and you might say yes to somebody who's not so good. So just make sure that you try to make wise decisions when you're there. And Christina, I first of all thank you so much for writing to me, and I wish you the best of luck on voting. And if you would like to write Bullseye a letter, you can feel free to write me a letter anytime at bullseye@bullseyetheclown.com. And if you would like to know if I respond to your letter, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel. I'm not sure which direction that little doodad is in. So whatever that little doodad is that says subscribe, it's like a little bell, and I think you like ring the little bell, ding, 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 whatever that happens to be. So you find the little bell, ding, 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 whatever that happens to be, and you subscribe to this channel. And when you subscribe to this channel, you'll be able to find out whether I answer your letters or not. And also, if you subscribe to this channel, if I get 100, then I can go and I can have my own URL that's like youtube.com/Bullseye The Clown. Doesn't that sound so nice? As opposed to youtube.com/ABCDEFGX subscriber. It's not so lovely, is it? So as always, thank you so much for watching Bullseye the Clown, and if you haven't yet, get out there and cast your vote. Until next time, bye-bye.